Welcome to Unleash Your Retirement with David Koren from RVA Wealth Management. Our podcast is all about providing anyone considering retirement with the confidence they need to pursue their dreams in this new phase of life. We cover a wide range of topics, from retirement planning to investing with purpose, all while making you laugh and keeping things lighthearted. With David's years of experience and guest industry leaders to help guide us, you'll walk away feeling informed, empowered, and ready to take on your future with confidence. So sit back, relax, and get ready to join us on this journey to a new life.
Hello, and welcome to the Unleash Your Retirement podcast with your host, David Koren. I'm Wendy McConnell. Hi, David.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Really,
I always am happy when I get to see you.
Good. Well, I'm always happy when I get to see you. It's a lot of fun. You're enjoying their cold weather because it's warm here.
Yeah, all right. Not so excited about seeing you now.
Yeah.
So we have a guest today, right? Would you like to introduce her?
This is Shawn Cordle. She's with AAA Travel, and we have used her on several occasions to plan trips for us. And so I thought one of the most favorite things that clients like to do when they retire is travel. I thought it would be a fun episode to really dig into what's out there right now. What kind of events can you be doing? Where can you travel to? When should you travel? Those types of questions. So that's what I wanted just to have Shawn on for, to sort of give us her take on some of her travels, because I know that Shawn has done a little traveling herself, haven't you, Shawn?
Just a little. I love to travel.
Okay, well, welcome to the show, Shawn. We appreciate you being here. And let's just dive right in. Let's talk about travel. I want to travel.
Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
I want to go everywhere. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to Asia. I want to go everywhere.
Perfect.
So one of the things that I always tell clients about travel is that it's real important to travel when you're just retired and younger, because I emphasize the fact that if anybody has traveled, they know that it is physically demanding. And I found that out firsthand because Shawn arranged a little trip. She's actually arranged a couple of trips for us. And we did a little trip, thought, oh, nice, relaxing river cruise, right? What can go, you're on a boat, right? It's the port to port. So you walk around a little bit in the new towns, that kind of thing. Well, it's a 7-day cruise. One of the things I discovered very quickly was with these river boats is that they don't move during the day. You have the entire, you travel at night from port to port. And so when you wake up early in the morning, you are out the door and you are going on tours. I averaged over 20,000 steps a day, which I think is in the 10-mile range per day. And it's challenging physically if you really want to do fun things and get to see a lot and take advantage of what, when you're traveling, take advantage of seeing sights that you've never seen before. I know I spent the whole day in Lucerne one day, and it was such a blast walking around Lucerne. It was just beautiful. I would like to go back right now, walk around those streets some more. It was so much fun because all the little shops are so quaint and so cool, and the food is really good and unique and different. It's just always an experience. And so traveling should be done early, not later. And we usually do build into a lot of our clients who do really want to travel when they retire. We'll build in a travel budget for them. It may be $10,000 a year, $20,000 a year for the first, say, 10 years of retirement. And that way we know that they're not going to be challenged later on if they do go ahead and engage in a lot of travel early in their retirement years. Their plan will still work. And that's something that we do encourage. And I know we talked about that too, Shawn, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me, what are some of your favorite destinations? Because you've done more traveling than me.
My top favorite right now, it changes, is Iceland. I loved Iceland. I was surprised, blown away. It was just one of the most amazingly beautiful places I've ever been. Egypt was another place that I had always wanted to go, and I just recently was able to go. And then I love Italy, especially Venice. That's just one of my favorite places.
I haven't done that one yet.
My last trip is generally my favorite place.
The last trip you went on is always your favorite.
It's generally my favorite place.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
But then you got to just keep going on trips, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
because they only get better.
They
Now,
only get better.
so what about river cruises? Is that something you book a fair amount of? Are they fun? Have you done a few of those?
I have. I'm actually getting ready to do my 10th. I am so passionate about river cruises for all the reasons that you just spoke with. And you know what? One thing I like is if you are tired one day and you just want to hang out, you can just hang out. But you do need to have a certain amount of physical ability to walk in Europe because of the uneven cobblestones. And you want, like David said, you want to be able to explore these beautiful, beautiful historic old towns and go to the museums and do the shops and eat at the fun little restaurants if you want to eat off the ship. So you do need to have some mobility.
Yeah. One thing I remember from my trip, mobility was important, but this is like one of those little things that you take away from the travel. I know you read it in the books and everything, but here in the United States, you see an old house, it's 100 years old, 150 years old, something like that. That's an old house, right?
Yep.
Up in New England, those are old houses. When you're in Europe, you see an old house. Oh, that's from the Roman times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Yeah, that was built back then. That's old to them. For us, I'm like, it's almost mind boggling to me to think in those terms, but that's the kind of history that you see when you're in Europe, especially.
We're just a baby country with baby houses.
That's right. That's
And
right.
this is one thing that seems to surprise a lot of my older travelers. There is no ADA compliance there. They don't have to have a ramp or they don't have to have an elevator. They do for the most part, and they're very helpful, but that's another reason why you need to have a fair amount of mobility.
Right. And if you don't have the mobility, you need to make sure that you're doing something that will accommodate the issues that you may have, whether it be wheelchair, walker, or just the inability to really get around a whole lot or have a lot of stamina. Now, I will say on the cruise that I was on, they had like these different slow walking tour or the easy walkers, they called it.
Gentle.
Gentle walkers. That's what gentle walking tours. And so if you were a little tired, you could do that one.
Mhm.
You just didn't go to as many places, or there was more travel from location to location provided as opposed to
Right.
the walking tours. And then I did a running tour. That was crazy. Because we had the fast walk. They called us the fast walkers. Well,
Mhm.
we weren't just fast walkers one day. We were running walkers because the tour guide, it was hilarious. She would get ahead of it. She would go and you'd be trying to take a picture and she moved so fast, she was gone. The whole group was gone. You're standing there taking a picture. You look and oh my, and so you're running literally to catch up sometimes.
Mhm.
It made it interesting. We saw a lot that day. We were in France, and what's the name of the city? I'm trying to remember. Starts with an S. Strasbourg.
Mm.
We were in Strasbourg, and Strasbourg has some gorgeous monasteries and stuff to
Mhm.
see there. And that's another interesting place too, because Strasbourg has been both French and German,
Yep.
and French and German. And the tour guide said, "Yeah, my grandmother is on her deathbed," and she said, "So, am I French or German today?"
Yep.
Because it went back and forth so many times over the centuries. It's just a lot of changes have occurred over there. So wonderful little tidbits like that you take away. And by the way, I did that cruise with my kids who will remember it forever because it was just a spectacular time for them. They had a blast. We were fortunate because we were worried that we were going to go and it would be only retirees. And as it turned out, there were a whole bunch of young people on that particular cruise because of when we went. We went in between Christmas and New Year's and got to see some of the Christmas markets while we were there, which was wonderful. But because of that timing, there were a lot of younger people on the cruise, people in college, even right out of college, which were the age of my kids. And so they had people to hang out with and do things with and explore around with. So it was a wonderful time. And in fact, that's really what traveling is all about. It's about making those memories, right?
That's one of the things that's the most important to me. I use this line a lot with my clients, and they're thinking about taking their older children or older grandkids on these trips, trip of a lifetime. And they really are a trip of a lifetime. I always say, if you can tell me 5 things you got for Christmas this year, I'll give you a prize. If you can tell me about the trip you took 20 years ago with your parents, you got to give the prize back. I mean, people can't remember the gifts they get, but they can remember trips they took with their families forever.
Yeah. And another example would be, so I also tell clients, they may say you want to do something and bring the whole family together to do it, that renting a big house at a resort or something like that and bringing all of your family together, that's memory making too. But
Mhm.
it's even more memory making if you can do something like go to Europe, do an African safari, take a river cruise in Vietnam, see parts of the world that you never would have dreamed of seeing.
Right.
That's the spectacular stuff. That's the stuff that your family, the memories they'll never forget. And I tell my clients, you're retired now. You've done really well. You've got quite a bit of wealth, not going to be able to spend it all. Why not do something that will endear your grandchildren for your lifetime and
You're
for
in
their
the
lifetime?
And you're in the investment business. I
Yes.
think travel is it's a different type of investment. It's an investment in your family, in your legacy, in your memories. It's incredible.
Well, let me ask you this. We've talked a little bit about the mobility that you need to get around. Let's talk about some like ballpark figures of what we need. Like, I'm really not familiar with the river cruises at all. Can you explain them to me a little bit more?
Okay, so a river cruise is basically a very small vessel. They hold about 200 people. And once you get on board, pretty much everything is included. You've got 3 meals a day, and those aren't just steak and baked potato. They always try to cater to whatever is local. They shop locally. You can see the chefs shopping in the local market. So they all really try to specialize in local food. Now, for really super picky people like me, they generally always have a steak or a chicken, but you're going to get amazing quality food. You generally going to get your beer and your local beers and wines with lunch and dinner. Those are generally included. You get one or more experiences a day into town. That's a tour of some sort. You get nightly entertainment, and nightly entertainment isn't a lounge singer. Nightly entertainment will be a local trio that they'll bring on board, or they'll bring an opera singer, or they'll bring all kinds of things. You just kind of never know what that entertainment is going to be. And those are the things that are included. And it just depends on the time of year, but roughly I would say probably about 10,000, 10 to 12 with air, just depending.
Per person then. Yeah.
Total.
In total,
Yeah.
per person in total.
No, about
Oh,
10
that's for
grand,
two.
roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for two.
Let me ask you, they're not just going on rivers then. So that kind of gives you the idea that you're just going up and down like the Mississippi or something, but that's not the case.
No, it is the case. Remember
Okay.
in Europe, those rivers that bisect the continent, that was the trade routes. And these are huge rivers. They're like the Mississippi.
Okay.
And the river ships are small, so they can actually get right into town, because a lot of times the rivers go right through town, or they're 30 minutes. Whereas if you go on a large cruise ship, nothing wrong with that. I love selling large cruises as well. You can be 2 hours away from where you really want to see with 3,000 of your best friends.
Right.
So it's two different. And sometimes a big cruise is a great way to do a younger family where you've got 5, 6, 7 year olds who they don't really care about the Strasbourg Cathedral. They'd rather do a big Disney cruise where they can meet Mickey Mouse and play in the pool, but that's still building great memories. That's still a
Yes, it
great
is.
family vacation.
Yeah, we've done both because when
Yeah.
my kids were younger, much younger, we did go on a cruise, ocean cruise kind of thing where we
Mhm.
went out of Charleston and hit the Key West and the Bermuda and in Bahamas and that kind of thing. And the kids thought it was wonderful. I
Mhm.
wasn't crazy about it because we were on the boat a lot, but that's what they loved. It was all these things they could do and run around and play. And that's one they've never forgotten.
Yeah.
And they'll talk about that one to this. We thought our daughter was going to stow away on the boat because she didn't want to leave. I mean, she just had just the wonderful memory. She still talks about it to this day and keeps in touch with some of the kids she met
Absolutely. We
on
hear
that
that.
cruise. Yeah.
That's the benefit of using a good travel agent. A good travel agent will find the details of what you think you want to do and kind of help guide you a little bit better. I would never put a small child on a river cruise or a teenager, even there's nothing for them to do unless it's a special kid that really enjoys history. But that's the benefit of using somebody to help you manage what you're doing so that you can make really good choices.
Or they really like good food, by the way.
Yeah.
So I tell the story because we went on Ama Waterways, and Ama has quite the reputation for their cuisine, and it is deserved. Let me just tell you that. I thought the food on that cruise was so good. It was like eating in a 5-star restaurant for every meal. Just and they were like you said, local cuisine. Every meal was really a little different, and I didn't have a bad meal. There was never a meal that I didn't just, oh, this is so good. I mean, that's all the whole family. We're sitting around, oh, this is so good. Because my kids were older then, so they really did appreciate the food. And of course, my kids were old enough to have wine. And that was the other thing. The wine was out of this world. And they got local wines. The pairings were perfect for all the dishes. And my daughter said, "Do they make wine like this in the United States?" After that, because she didn't really like wine until that trip. And now she understands that there are good wines out there.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, we were really kind of a basic family where we went to the Jersey Shore for vacation or maybe Florida or whatever. So when we're talking about trips like Egypt or an African safari, it seems so far out of reach for so many people. How can it be more presentable so that it's possible for you to take such a trip?
There's lots of different ways to work it. If you say, gosh, Shawn, we really want to take our family to Egypt. Actually, I'm working with a client right now, but this is my budget. There's different ways that we can try and do it. It may not be possible all the time, but we can do payment plans. We can plan it for 2 years out. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. And then if that doesn't work, a good travel agent is able to then say, gosh, I'm sorry that won't work for your family this year, David. How about we do this instead? Let's go to the Green Canyon as a family. Let's let Shawn help us plan that great trip.
Now, what about, I know that some of my clients take advantage of special tours. So they may be a member of the museum,
Mhm.
natural history, or they're participants with one of them works with local winery.
Mhm.
And they sometimes do group tours together. And I think, aren't those sometimes a little less expensive or not?
Group tours are where it's at. They're wonderful. A lot of different organizations do this kind of thing. Rhodes Scholar, the Virginia Museum does a lot of them. You go together as a group. I also book a lot of group tours with vendors that AAA works with, big tour companies. And I love those tour companies for families because there's always, when you try to do a trip on your own, dad is always driving and mom's always getting the directions wrong, or he thinks she's getting them wrong. And dad doesn't get to see things, and neither does mom. And the kids are fighting in the back seat, and you're trying to figure out where you're going to stay. And you end up with having an hour at the Grand Canyon. If you do an organized tour, somebody else does the driving. Now, you are on that trip with perhaps 30 of your best friends and family, but the motor coach trips are great. They stop every 2 hours. Everything is planned. You still have free time. A lot of times we do multi generations with the grandparents, the parents, and the kids, and there's something for everybody.
Yeah, we actually did a trip like that just last year for our 30th wedding anniversary where we went to Canada and Sean helped arrange that. And that was it was tours, a lot of buses, movement, travel from point to point. But man, we got to see the most spectacular scenery in Canada
Mhm.
in the Rockies. We got to do the Rocky Mountaineer. Oh, so much fun. Everything was prearranged. We had some free time, but the majority of the time we knew what we were going to be doing. We knew how much free time we had until the next event. We did our actual anniversary dinner in the chateau on Lake Louise, which was just spectacular. There, the view out that window, I'll still never forget it. Was just wonderful. So it was just very nice, and it was very affordable. I thought, it was for what we got to do and all the things we got to see. It was very affordable, and I really, like Sean said, the buses are very comfortable. They don't. I'm prone to motion sickness. I didn't have a single issue on the buses when we went through Canada at all. It was like nothing. Oh, and we had some really spectacular situations on the buses too. I'll never forget. So there was a switchback. We were going up to some waterfall, a glacial waterfall, by the way, just water pouring right off the glacier. And the bus to get there had to come up and then had to backwards up this switchback and then into a crevice and then back. And when we came down, he had to do the same thing. I've never seen that done before, but it was actually a cool experience being on that bus. And again, never felt motion sickness, never had an issue. And the bus ride itself could actually be entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking about.
Those motor coaches have come a long way. They're not I don't know if you remember the movie, If It's Tuesday, It Must Be Belgium, where they literally did like 14 countries in 3 days. These coaches are luxurious. They have Wi-Fi. Actually, most of them do have a bathroom on board.
Yep,
They
I
stop
did.
every 2 hours or so. The guides are knowledgeable and funny and just amazing. It's just really fun. And we don't call them buses, David.
Oh, sorry. The motor coaches.
We call them motor coaches,
Yes, the motor
luxury motor coach.
So that's a good description. It did feel like a luxury motor coach. It really
Mhm.
did. It felt because, like I said, the seats were very comfortable. You set up nice and high. You get gorgeous views all around in any direction, really.
Mhm.
So it was really nice and enjoyable. And when we did stop as a group to eat or something like that, it was all pre-planned, and actually the food was really good that way too. I was just surprised sometimes about how well organized those things were. And where you stopped, they knew you were coming. It was well planned, well thought out, and you didn't have too many. It was like you were the only motor coach there. Not there weren't 10 of them all at once. You were the only motor coach because they were prepared for you.
Very well orchestrated.
It was lots of fun. And again, memories, memories, memories. My wife and I will never forget our 30th anniversary trip because memories, memories, memories. And I think you're working with her right now for another trip, if
I
I'm not
am.
mistaken. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
That'll be a lot of fun. So I think we start talking about these things. Cost is a factor,
Mhm.
but I think you can set your budget. I mean, you can do a lot for a few $1,000s.
Mhm.
You don't have to spend 20,000 or 10,000 for a trip. Now, if you want to take the whole family and you want to do a lot, then that's a different horse of a different color, obviously. But like I tell clients all the time, can't take the money with you. And in the end, it's really all about your memories and your family memories of you. That's to me more important than anything else. It's not about the money. Retirement's not about that. And sharing memories with your family is really what you take with you.
Yes, I am working with a multi-generational family right now. The grandmother came to me about 2 years ago and said, I want to take the family to Alaska. And we've been working on it for about 2 years, and everybody's going, and she saved her
Oh, wow.
money, and it's just been a really fun trip. I've been helping them with every aspect, and even the grandkids have emailed me and asked me questions, and they're so excited.
And I just want to emphasize something else too, how important it is if you're going to be doing something like this to work with a professional travel agent who in many cases has taken the same trips. You've done the same cruise that we did. You could really relate and tell us about it. And so we could visualize, we asked you lots of questions through the process and you got the answers for us, or you knew the answers right away, which was wonderful. But I can't even imagine doing that on my own. I don't have the time for that. I mean, all the calls you would have to make, trying to organize that, put all that together yourself, not a fun experience as far as I would be concerned. I would not enjoy doing that, trying to do. And then, like you said, if you're doing it, even if you're not using motor coaches, you're trying to get from point to point A, point B, having to organize all that yourself and make sure that it's all taken care of. That's not a lot of fun. I think on our trip to Canada, the only thing I had to worry about was getting from the hotel to the airport on the last day.
Right.
To fly back. That was the only thing I had to worry. And that was simple.
I walked you through it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds great, guys. So, Shawn, if somebody wants to get in touch with you to start planning their trip of a lifetime, how do they get in touch?
Give them this is for you too. Give them your number and contact information. Absolutely.
My number is 804-293-4035. And you can reach me by email at scordle. That's S for Sean, C Cat, O Oscar, R Romeo, D David, L Lima, E Echo.
Oh my goodness, military style.
I do this 1,000 times a day.
Yeah.
At ACA, Apple Charlie Apple .aaa.
All right. David, can you give us your information in the same way? Let's hear it.
Oh, there's no way. RVAwealthmanagement.com. If you have financial questions, just go online. I can do it. You can do a 20-minute Ask Anything meeting with me. Just link up through Calendly and book your time. Or if you want an initial consultation, they're both free, 1-hour consultation. And we'll try to answer your questions and help move you in the right direction. Anything related to financials. But I'm really happy to have done this one because I was so looking forward to having Shawn on the show because this is such a big thing for all of our clients. lots of fun. Hey, travel early, enjoy it. It's about the memories, really is.
Well, thank you both. We appreciate it. And thank you for listening today. Please like, follow, and share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, I'm Wendy McConnell.
Thank you for listening to the Unleash Your Retirement podcast. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.rvawealthmanagement.com or give us a call at 804-497-2100. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of RVA Wealth Management. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.
Content here is for illustrative purposes and general information only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized financial advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Results will vary. Past performance is no indication of future results or success. Market conditions change continuously. This commentary reflects the personal opinions, viewpoints, and analysis of RVA Wealth Management. It does not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory, Private Client Services, their clients, or their employees. This commentary should not be regarded as a description of advisory services provided by RVA Wealth Management or RFG Advisory, or performance returns of any client. The views reflected in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Securities offered by registered representatives of Private Client Services member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered by investment advisory representatives of RFG Advisory, a registered investment advisor. Private Client Services, RVA Wealth Management, and RFG Advisory are unaffiliated entities. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RFG Advisory and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advisory services may be rendered by RFG Advisory unless a client agreement is in place.